All right, now we're going to look at refining the back. So we've got to think about the overall muscle structure of things like the trapezius muscle and the lat muscles. All right, so most of this stuff, and actually we've got to kind of pull this back a little bit. So that's not going to be in quite so far to the center. All right, so we're going to start here with the trapezius muscle. So the trapezius kind of starts from the center of the body here and radiates from the neck down and out into the shoulder. We want to keep watching that flow to make sure that we've actually got the striations of the muscle going in the right directions. So we're going to make a bunch of detail and then smooth it out. And really over here, there's a kind of band of tendon that muscle is going to attach to. So it's not going to have as much, if any, muscle striation right over here. Swinging a sword all the time, though, is definitely going to build up those shoulder muscles. So again, we add a bit of detail. Then after we get some more detail in there, we'll go back and smooth it in so the detail's not too pronounced. All right, there's a feeling of the underlying muscle structure, but it's not too crazy. All right, now on the scapula, there's a band of muscle that's covered up both by the trapezius and the lat muscle. So we've got to kind of work that muscle in there. I'm going to make my sculpt brush a bit smaller and add some finer detail to the muscle. So we can feel like that muscle's there, but it's not so emphasized that it's going to feel awkward. It's like with everything else we're really doing, we want to have a sense of underlying structure, but it does need to also feel like there's skin on top. All right, I think that transition will work a little better now. All right, so as we look around, we're still just trying to find those overall major kind of insertion points and watching to make sure that we're running the muscle striation in the correct direction. So I'm always trying to find and add those details without again having too much detail or making it feel like all his skin's been removed. So even though our barbarian probably wouldn't have much of a fat layer, there's still got to be a sense of skin going over the top of that muscle. So we're just kind of looking to emphasize the major muscle groups, and then again, smooth things back in to make sure that it all kind of works together. So you add the detail, smooth it out, and you end up with an underlying sense of structure. Let's increase the strength just a little bit, smooth it out a little bit more right through here. And we gotta add just a little more mass here where that muscle kind of overlaps. We need to adjust just a little bit where the lat muscle inserts near the spine. So we're just going to kind of carve it back in just a little bit to help define that edge there. There, I think that works pretty good for the back, at least for the level of subdivision that we have. Yeah, and you do need to move around the mesh like this to see how the light falls across the surface, to see whether or not your details are too large or too small.